Rachael Ray Double R doing some double M's. Woo! Food that you can make so quick it will free you up for more free time in your life. Look at that crispy skin. Delish. Ooh, that smells amazing. Boom! Nailed it. Hey guys, Double R coming to you. Today we're gonna go Greek. Yes, we're gonna have Greek-style meatballs in a red sauce, and we're gonna put it alongside spaghetti tossed in white feta sauce. Feta spaghetti. Yum. We're gonna start with 1.5 pounds of meat. I'm using ground lamb because, hello, these are Greek meatballs. In the center, I've put 1.5 pounds of meat in here for 4 adult servings of small meatballs that we're gonna bake. So I have a pan ready to put meatballs on to put them in an oven, and the oven is preheating at 425 degrees. We've got the lamb, but we wanna moisten the breadcrumb. You want to moisten it either with water or milk. I'm gonna use milk because we're using it also in the white sauce, in the feta cheese sauce for our pasta. So we're just gonna douse it kind of evenly and slowly and let that soak in. That's why I made a well for the breadcrumb in the middle of the meat, okay? Now we're gonna season the meat, salt and pepper. So a good amount of kosher salt. You can go red or black pepper. The 3 things you will come across in Greek cuisine: dry or fresh oregano. The equivalent of fresh to dry, for me, is about this. Use a full palmful, or about a tablespoon, of fresh to 1/3 of that, or about a teaspoon of dry. If you're using fresh, I use per tablespoon. Your equivalent would be a teaspoon. Now we're gonna add a little bit more moisture and make these kind of silky. We're gonna add an egg. Why did I put the egg into a little bowl first instead of just dumping it into this bowl? 2 reasons. I want to mix the egg together. I don't want a big blob of egg white stuck in one meatball over here, and then a big blob of yolk over there. I want to mix it together a little bit first, right? That makes sense. And then we're gonna add a little lemon zest. About a teaspoon. And we're gonna add a little grated garlic. Why are we grating the garlic? To make it as paste-like as possible so you don't bite down on big chunks of garlic in the meatball. Grated garlic. And then your choice of all parsley or a mix of parsley and mint. These guys do a lot of heavy lifting in a lot of Greek recipes. And I love mint, especially with lamb, so I'm gonna sneak a little bit. A little less than half of whatever you use of parsley. So if you use a fat handful of parsley, use a little palmful of mint. More than enough. And then, as always, gather the herbs together. Fingers in the opposite hand of how you hold your knife, whichever hand you prefer. Gather, back a knife, mill. Collect, back of knife or your food mover or bench scrape. Drop it in. And we're good to go. Slide this baby forward. Take your rings off. You know what you could do for me? You could put the butter, just let that start melting. And then the front pan, put a couple tablespoons of olive oil, do the darker, yeah. Just coat the bottom. Then I want you to take that spray oil and just very lightly spray all of our lamb meatballs. And you can throw them in the oven while I'm washing up. Here you go. All right, so balls are in the oven. All is good. For the meatballs, we're going to make a fairly small amount of red sauce. So I need a little bit of onion. This is a really big white onion. I'm gonna use the last quarter of him. Every week, I put everything away clean and ready to use. So I used a quarter of this onion, okay, like half an hour ago when I made a different meal. And now we're gonna, oh, I didn't throw it away. No, here we go. We're using up that last little bit. So I'm gonna run my knife through this, and we're gonna do an onion and bay base to this. Onion and bay go beautifully together. And in Italian cooking, the first example I can think of is alla amatriciana, which starts with pancetta or guanciale. And you melt that a little bit. A little bit of pork cheek or pancetta is rolled cured meat that's similar to bacon but not smoked. You finally chop that and you add a ton of onion and bay, and you make this kind of sweet, light sauce that has that pork flavor in the background, alla matriciana. Here, we're going to do another thing that's pretty common in Greek cuisine. We're gonna add a little bit of cinnamon to the sauce, which sounds weird, but cinnamon and black pepper or cinnamon and red pepper go really beautifully together. And we're not talking like cinnamon toast amounts of cinnamon, like one tiny little pinch is what you would add. So we're going to put the bay into the olive oil, and we're going to add just 1 can of crushed tomatoes, 128 ouncer, and this will be just enough sauce to coat the meatballs. We're not using the red sauce, remember. On the pasta, we're doing a white sauce for that. So you can add a little piece of cinnamon stick and let that work with the onions, or we can add salt to start drawing their liquid out. So we have our onion in there, we have our bay leaf, we have our olive oil to coat the bottom. Now we're going to add just a pinch of the smoked cinnamon. Wow, that is sexy, seriously. I think I want John to make me a cappuccino tomorrow morning with this, so I'm gonna leave it behind the garbage bowl to remind me tomorrow morning. I want that. And we're going to add a little bit of garlic. Now, it's difficult. Some people, when they make red sauce, don't want any garlic in it at all. They just want the onion flavor. John likes garlic in everything, so I'm gonna add 1 clove, just sliced. Throw it in there. It'll get nice and kind of sweaty with the onions and the salt. We're gonna add the tiniest bit of sweetness to the sauce too. The tiniest drizzle of honey or a little tiny sprinkle of sugar. And that's not a Greek thing, that's an anybody thing that makes sauce, often does that. And we're gonna let that cook out a little bit. And let's go with, again, same combo that we just used in the meatballs themselves. Tiniest pinch each of red and black pepper. And there we go, we're off to a good start. I'm now chopping up a shallot, which again, you keep clean, put away ready to use, and you'll use more of them. Of course, you could just use another little piece of quarter onion or whatever, but this is for our white sauce, our feta sauce for our spaghetti. Because the butter has melted just with the heat from the pilot light in my back pan here. Oh, a little piece got away. Just mill over that. So in the back pan, I'm gonna turn on the legit heat. There we go. And add our shallot to that. And our onions and garlic and bay and pepper and smoked cinnamon have turned into a pleasant mush. This is the red sauce for our meatballs. So we're adding our 1 can. I'll rinse that out in a bit. It's the point of the garbage bowl. You don't have to waste your time. We already added a drizzle of honey too, so I think we're pretty much done with that sauce. So we can get that back sauce going. Turn this up just a hair. Get a little salt in there. Over the shoulder. Add a little garlic to that guy. That was a big clove. So, I don't know, maybe we'll do one tiny one to go with it, and then we're done. This front one's spitting, I gotta get on it. It's gonna look like I really am in a horror movie if I got that red stuff all over my face. Spitting up. There we go. Calm him down. Done. Keep him on low. This guy can stay a little bit higher. Let's stir him around. He's still spitting away, isn't he? Okay. The back pan, we're gonna add a little lemon zest to as well. We're gonna add a little juice at the very, very end for acidity. Nice. Let's take a tiny peek at the meatballs. Almost. They're really close. I don't know, like 2-3 minutes. Although, you know what? Maybe it would help this sauce if we just put them in there and cook them dumpling style the last few minutes. You know, cook them in the sauce rather than letting them finish in the oven. Let's just do that. That'll help this guy calm down. So we're gonna just guide these boys in. And John really loves meatballs literally cooked in sauce from raw. We never use a frying pan for meatballs. A, you use a lot of oil. B, it makes your meatballs really crispy and weird on one side and too flat. I prefer the shape when you bake them in the oven. I like to get a nice crust on them in the oven and then drop them into the sauce. But John really prefers dumpling-style meatballs. A thin sauce where you literally cook the meatballs from raw directly in the sauce. That's his favorite. Okay, lots of ways to get to the same place though, right? I never met a meatball I didn't like. I'm not picky about it. Back pan, white wine. This is not Greek wine. This is from Tuscany. Anyway, this back sauce here. Oops, I forgot the flour. I should have put the flour in. Should have done that already, but whatever, we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Put the flour in with your melted butter and then add your wine. I'll recover, don't you worry. I'm just gonna work the whisk really fast. And it's still gonna be a lovely brew. All we're trying to do is give a thickening agent to about 1.5 cups of milk so we can melt a whole lot of feta for feta sketty. That's kind of my nickname for it. 1.5 cups is about exactly what we have left from our meatball situation. Whisk that in. And like I said earlier, I really appreciate the combination of herbs that are so constant and common in many Greek dishes. The marriage of oregano, and for sure, together so much mint and parsley, right? So I'm gonna use all 3 of those. Wow, I gotta process that garbage bowl pretty soon. It's taking over the counter. So we're gonna take about 1 tablespoon of oregano, fresh oregano this time. Although Like we discussed earlier, you could substitute a little more of the dried. A few leaves of mint. And a good, generous handful of our flat parsley. Ooh, not quite that much. Put in the entire dolly and her head. No, that was quite a bit of parsley. Okay. These guys back down here. My herb drawer. Here we go again. Oh, you know, it would be a really smart thing if I dropped the spaghetti anytime this year. Hello. Is he on the highest he can go? Yeah, he is. Okay. Whenever we cook pasta, we flavor the water itself because it flavors the pasta itself. And we use the starchy cooking water to marry the pasta to the sauce. In the spaghetti goes. All right, see you in a couple, guys. Now we can carry on chopping our mint and parsley. Good. And these guys will go in the vegetable drawer. To our sauce. Thickened up beautifully. We're gonna use our spoon to melt in a good cup and a half of Greek feta, which I drained and crumbled just in my fingertips. You know, it comes in water in a tub. Regular grocery store. Should go to anything special. It'll say Greek feta on it versus the packaged stuff. I prefer the from Greece in water, and then I drain it and crumble it. And that's it. We let that melt together. These are cooking nicely. All we got to do is wait for the pasta. I'm going to shut up for a few minutes, is what I'm telling you. You got like 7 or 8 minutes. You can. All right, so meatballs, let's put them in the blue one, John, and give me the white dish for the feta.
This?
And the white one on the bottom. I got red pepper flake up my nose. That's fun. Ugh. Damn it, why do I have such good taste in pasta that takes twice as long than pasta to cook? All right, magic starchy cooking water to marry pasta to sauce. Always drain your pasta a minute or so before you think it's perfect because it's gonna continue to cook. It's called carryover cooking. So we're gonna give that a shake and immediately drop it into our white feta sauce. Immediately add a little bit of our magic starchy water. And we're going to add that bright finish of a little squirt of lemon. Now we're adding that combo of the fresh oregano and mint and parsley. And then really work it. Let me pull this closer to me, I'm too short. Really work that. Get the feta sauce all around. Wow, does that smell awesome. I'm just gonna let that set there for a minute and get kind of stupid. We're gonna take out our bay leaf from our red sauce and meatballs. Slide those guys into here. The feta sketty. Oh, it's really, it's like soaking it up. 9,000 crumbles of feta in a creamy, citrusy base. Wow. And the last bit of parsley, mint, and oregano over the top of that. Done. Yum.